Hi, everyone. Seth Screamo here again at the Best of Wooster podcast. And today we are at Adaptive Sports with Katherine Ritchie. She's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on in her world and how she came to be. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks, Seth. It's sunny out. That's a win.
All right, so let's get into the questions here. You recently stepped into the role of development at Adaptive Sports Ohio. Can you tell us a little bit about this organization's mission and why is it so important?
Sure. I'm a month in to my role here, and I'm so thrilled to be here working on a mission that makes such an impact for people. I think most people don't realize the power of adaptive sports and that it's so important to give all individuals a chance to play. We know that sports are so important in so many lives. And if you are like me and have children or you grew up playing sports, it was just always an option. So the opportunity that the non-disabled population have should also be available for those with physical disabilities. And that's really where our passion is. That's where our founders started and why for nearly 16 years we've been doing that. And that's something that we do here in Wooster and Wayne County, but are spreading that out throughout the state as well.
Awesome. So tell me, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about adaptive sports?
There are a lot. I think most people probably think that they're not as competitive. If you have not watched the Paralympics, we are a huge Olympics family, so we've always watched the Paralympics as well. If you have not watched that, I don't know if you have, Seth, it is incredible. These athletes just can perform same way if you think of the able-bodied population. Does that mean everyone's going to make it to the Paralympics? Absolutely not. Does that mean it's an opportunity for maybe someone who never thought they could be involved with their school team, could be a part of a group? That is really the power of adaptive sports and that myth that anyone who may seem different can't be as involved. And so we provide those opportunities. And seeing someone and the variety of sports that we offer, I think most people know wheelchair basketball. They know sled hockey, there's softball, there's rugby, there's tennis, lacrosse, track. There are so many ways that athletes can become involved, and they are athletes in our programs.
Yeah, folks, earlier, before we had this interview, I went and walked through their warehouse here, and I could have swore I was looking at some Mad Max stuff when it came to the rugby things that they have. They're definitely put in the hard work, and I guarantee you that if you're in a wheelchair like that, you might think twice. That's for sure. So you mentioned that philanthropy has always been part of your life. What's one of the most meaningful donor connections you've ever made?
Sure. I've certainly done this professionally and did it previously as a volunteer, but I think one of the ones that comes to top of mind is relationship building is so much of philanthropy, and having the opportunity to get to know a wonderful couple. Relationships started because they had been making some gifts. I reached out, ended up going to their home a couple times, and there's something about sitting around someone's kitchen table and finding out their story and why they feel strongly about your mission and what you want to do. And they ended up supporting at that time a capital campaign and making a really significant gift. And they felt strongly because it wasn't just about them. They wanted their grandchildren to be able to see that legacy, that you can be really successful and work hard, but you should be giving back. And the way that they did that was truly part of a community initiative too, so that others could benefit from that. And that's exactly why I love philanthropy and meeting people where they see their hard work coming to fruition and what means the most to them.
Awesome. So what's been the most rewarding moment for you so far in this new role? It's only been, what, a couple weeks? I know. But I imagine your eyes probably have been wide open, right?
Absolutely. I think like so many, I knew about the mission and the work here, but didn't know the depth at which Adaptive Sports Ohio does their amazing work. And I've kind of jumped in at our peak event time. So I have been really fortunate to see the athletes in action and seeing a young athlete representing their school, wearing that uniform, getting introduced. There is such power in that. And seeing those families so proud, maybe never thinking their child would have that opportunity. So seeing those opportunities, seeing the community really support our initiatives. The state championship for wheelchair basketball was just last Saturday, and that was an incredible event celebrating two teams that, just like any other, all the playoff games that are happening right now for able-bodied sports, they get to go there and represent their team and their school and the crowd. And so all of that is just really powerful in what we do and really exciting to be a part of.
And I guarantee you, they are still trash talking on that court, just like any other basketball court. Going from part-time consulting to full-time work in a new town must have been a big shift. What has helped you navigate this transition successfully?
Sure. I am not a Wayne County original person. I guess a transplant is what I would say. And there are a lot of us that come to Wayne County for various reasons. And I originally came to Wayne County as a College of Wooster student, and never did I think I would still be back here. I'm originally from Portland, Maine. And so if you meet me, one of the first things I always ask is, where are you from? And because I just find that so interesting. And so I was living in Columbus and took a job back here in Worcester. So again, never thought Wayne County, let alone Worcester. So the first thing that I was actually going to wait to do was get back involved. And that is really hard. And you'll probably hear about that is I'm very service oriented. So I joined the Kiwanis Club immediately. I had been involved in Columbus, got involved with my kids' school, became the PTO president, and we joined the church. So there were things like that where it takes a while to get to know people. As I joke about that with Wayne County, people are friendly, but sometimes they already have their groups of friends because you grew up here. But those were great ways to start making inroads in different areas of the city. And that really helped me with adjusting to my role professionally, going back to work full time as a mom, and getting involved in the community.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room here. You're all over the place. So you swear by Cozi for organizing your personal and professional life. Can you share any other tools or habits that help you stay on top of everything?
Sure. So I don't even know if anyone even used it. Cozi is something we started using, maybe 15 years ago when we had young children, and we still use it to this day. Every family member is color coded. I'm really a visual person. So we have the calendar hanging in right outside our kitchen that shows that. We have that calendar. I very much write things down. I review the night before, even with my children. They're very used to that of, okay, this is where people are headed. We email back and forth to make sure our kids are getting in the right places. So I think it's just repetitive is important. Visual, Again, I always say I'm old school. I have a paper calendar on my desk, but I obviously use online tools too. But I think visually seeing your day and laid out for the day or the week, I work a week at a time. I'm a planner. I love being able to see that is really important and works well for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely a planner too. Yeah, sometimes it feels like you plan a week at a time. Other days, it's just a day, maybe an hour, right? So what's been one of the biggest challenges in fundraising, and how did you overcome it?
Sure. I talk about this a lot, that Wooster and Wayne County is a phenomenal place to be living and working because it is so philanthropic. It is incredibly generous. There are so many worthy organizations and agencies to support. So that's a challenge. It's being able to tell your story, what your needs are, why that's important. And there's always needs. We all see it everywhere. And that's why I'm involved in so many things. But it's that storytelling, it's that connection, it's the relationship building that's so important. And I think once you make those connections and people know your story and they understand it, that's where those kind of philanthropic gems can come from. I also think it goes back to there are so many people in this community that support so many things. And that's what you need to have a vibrant community continue on.
Awesome. So speaking about continuing, recently someone told me that if you aren't learning, you're going to end up dying. So you're always learning, attending network events, webinars, and connecting with other development professionals. What's the best piece of advice you've received lately?
Sure. This was probably a hard one to actually accept. I was leaving a chapter that I very much enjoyed and had done really great work, but knew it was time to move on and take my skills somewhere else. And it was really understanding that it was okay to be proud of the work that I had done, to be proud of how much I had poured into that role and kind of move into some new challenges. I think you're always growing in that way. I'm always jumping on webinars or listening to podcasts because I think even if you just take a couple gems to apply, it can really affect your whole work, or as you're working on a new plan or you're thinking about your outreach. It's always changing, and going back to philanthropy is always changing. It's getting harder in so many ways. So being able to really work that into your everyday job is really critical. And I think, as you said, some people are just lifelong learners, and I think it just makes you better in all aspects of what you do.
Oh yeah, it's like having what I call leapfrog skills, right? You can be learning a little bit about some things, but sometimes you got to say, all right, that's enough. I need to learn about this. So where do you see Adaptive Sports Ohio in the next 5 years? Say you had a crystal ball you could see in the future. How do you hope to contribute to that vision?
Sure. That's such a such a good question, too. I think Lisa Followay, who founded Adaptive Sports Ohio, her goal is that anywhere in the state of Ohio, someone who wanted to be involved with adaptive sports programs would have to travel no more than an hour. So that's a lofty goal. Ohio's a large state. So there's a lot of opportunities that exist, but they're not everywhere. And obviously, funding, getting into school systems, there's a lot of things that are in play and that we're doing. So in 5 years, we would love to be in more places. Like I mentioned before, we're in a lot of school systems offering interscholastic sports. We want to see that expand. Community-based programs that kind of feed into that are great opportunities. We would love to have a larger facility that meets the needs as well. So there's all of those pieces in play that are on the cusp. So we're excited and really hope that in 5 years we can say we're reaching that many more athletes than we are today.
So speaking of reaching other people, let's say someone here is listening and they want to get involved, either as an athlete, volunteer, or hopefully a donor, right? What's the best way to start?
Sure. We never say no to gifts. Volunteers are such a huge part of our program. So we're always looking for coaches for our various sports. You got to walk the warehouse and see the racks of equipment and all the things that we're doing. If you look on our website, we have a calendar that shows, we are everywhere all the time. We have 2 of our teams heading to tournaments this weekend. So that's a big part of what we do. But volunteering, so whether that's as a coach, we have phenomenal training. So you may say, I know nothing about wheelchair basketball. How could I possibly coach it? We'll help you. You're coaching athletes. That's no different if you've done that before. So having those experiences is so important. We can always use volunteers in our office for office tasks, cleaning equipment, helping with those kind of things. We have a number of fundraisers as well. Our trick or treat trail in October at Barnes Preserve, always looking for volunteers to help with that too. So, and maybe you know of an athlete who could benefit from our services or want to get more information, reaching out to us, 330-601-1400, or finding us online, adaptivesportsohio.org is the best way, or reaching out to me directly. We'd love to get you connected.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to ask a little bit more personal questions here. So if you could have dinner with any philanthropist or leader in the nonprofit world, who would it be and why?
Sure. I mentioned my roots in Portland, Maine, which I think most people know me know. I always mention it. My whole family is still in Maine, and I miss that state a lot. And so the one that came to mind, and this is always a hard question, I'd like to meet with everyone. His name is Harold Alfond, and he established at the age of 36 the first private foundation in the state of Maine. So to be that young, to be in the 50s and say, okay, I've made some good money and I want to give back to my state, I think is really inspiring. I love community foundations. I love private foundations and the power of what they can do for so many. So I think that would be really fascinating. He was in the shoe industry. So I don't know if you've heard of Dexter shoes. He did that. And then there are about 36 buildings that are named after him throughout the state of Maine. His focus was sports and higher education and education in general. So I think it would be really fascinating to say, what inspired you and your wife at that age to say, we want to give back in this significant of a way, not just give back. So I think that would be my choice.
What's a hidden gem in Wooster that more people should know about?
Sure. So I have 2. Okay. The first is Ohio Light Opera. I am a huge supporter of the arts. We have season tickets in Cleveland and Akron for their Broadway series, but Ohio Light Opera is right here. And I think the name opera discourages a lot of people. They think, I don't want to do that. When there are some incredible productions that maybe are not as opera heavy, I would say, but to pay a really reasonable price for a ticket, if you've not been into where they perform, they do incredible things on a small stage with a small backstage. And I have taken my children. Sometimes the crowd is older, of course, but also how many people come and spend a couple days in Wooster because you can see a number of productions. The fact that they are doing multiple productions at a time is amazing. And these artists come from all over the country to spend time in Wooster. So that is one that if you have not experienced it, your kids will enjoy it, I promise, at a certain age. They will enjoy it, but that is something you should definitely take advantage of. And then my other one is Frientique. So downtown, my first week in Wooster we were shopping for some furniture for my home, and my mom said, this shop benefits hospice. We're going in. And so I got an actual, it looked brand new kitchen table and chairs, still have it, but they do incredible work to benefit hospice, but also how much they do for the community too, that they're helping so many that they're very modest in their storytelling, but if there's a woman starting over, she could come in and shop. They do have so many connections with partner agencies. They have a huge real estate footprint downtown, but maybe you're not into thrifting, and that's okay. Donate, share the word, but they do a lot of great work. So Frientique and Nestor are two of my favorites as well.
Sounds like two excellent people to be on the show. What's one book or podcast you'd recommend for someone interested in nonprofit?
Sure. I believe really strongly in kind of looking into what skills and strengths you have. And so StrengthsFinder is an amazing book that I have found. I've taken a lot of those tests, probably a lot of you have, where you've done the different, everyone can rattle off what they are, what those things. StrengthsFinder really focuses on those top 5, and not only what they are, but how you can best use them. And so I think that's such a part of it, is that you can take those tests and look at what your skills are. You might know what they are, but how do you use them to not just your advantage, but how can you apply them best in your role, whatever that might be? And how do you work with that with other people in your job? I think I've found the best results when everyone took the test and you could see, okay, this is how this person likes to be related to. This is how I need to communicate with this one. So StrengthsFinder, I think, is really worth the time.
So you wear so many hats in this community. I imagine your hat rack at home is probably 3 of them. So from adaptive sports to Wayne County Women's Network and Kiwanis Club, what drives your passion for community involvement?
Sure. I get that question a lot of, you seem like you don't stop or you don't have time. I think it's just woven into my fabric. I don't think I would know how to not do things like that. Some of the things have just kind of come along, but I just get such energy from them as well. Women's Network is a great example of, those are a lot of women I would never cross paths with normally, wouldn't have the opportunity to sit and chat with or hear their story. And so that's such a wonderful outlet. I've always been in service clubs since high school, so Kiwanis was a natural fit for what we do, and our mission of children and literacy really fits into what I believe in as well. I'm also on the Homeward Bound board, and my husband and I volunteer there as well, so the needs. I think you learn about a community. I think you learn about yourself. I think we all have skills that we can offer in different ways. Time, talent, treasure doesn't just apply in philanthropy. I think it applies in the world. And I think it's so important to give back. And everyone has their different ways of time, what they see as important, how they value that. I don't think I could be idle. I joke, if I could win the lottery tomorrow and, no longer work a real job, I'm doing air quotes, I'd be busy volunteering. And there's so many wonderful organizations in Wooster. Again, I think that's what's so fabulous. There's different ways of being involved, and it only helps a community. It makes a community stronger. You cross paths with people you wouldn't normally meet, and I think it's just really important. And it's one of my core values, and it's where I've met some of my really good friends too.
Yeah, for sure. With my background, I was in the Marine Corps for 10 years, and I've always been told that you never get time back. So if you can make the most out of every day and know that you did a good job, doesn't matter how many hats you wear, as long as you know that you wore every hat in the right light, then you did something good. So you're often found at the Wooster High School games, volunteering or walking Oak Hill Park. How has being so embedded in the community shaped your work and your personal growth?
Sure. I think moving here, not growing up here, it's an adjustment to kind of find your footing and find your path. And I think being involved in so many different ways, I truly feel part of this community. I still joke to this day, as I said earlier, I never thought I would be in Wooster still. I thought I'd be living in Boston with my friends, living on the East Coast. And this has been a fabulous place to be raising children, to be involved. I think there's so many more opportunities here. When we were living in Columbus, really involved there, but in different ways. So to feel like I'm making an impact, I'm making a difference, I think it's so important. It's why I've chosen the career I've chosen, and the places that I've chosen to be is because I really do want to feel like I am contributing and advancing a mission forward. And that's really important. Yeah, we're really fortunate that we get to look out at Oak Hill Park every day. That's a treat in Wooster. I used to live by the college, and that was lovely. Worcester's a great place. I feel like I I sell it a lot to people. It'll be my 25th college reunion in May. I'm excited for my classmates to come back and see how much has changed in Wooster. A lot haven't been back since graduation. A few things have changed. I mean, Diggers is gone, but there's some good replacements as well. So it's exciting.
It's Friday when we're doing this interview, so this question comes perfect. You love dining at the Rocks on a Friday night. What makes that spot perfect for you?
Sure. We're lucky to have so many great restaurants in Worcester. Rocks is one of our favorite. I love the cozy feel to it, that you can be nestled in and we don't even have to look at the menu, but we do. We know what food we're going to get. We know we're going to have a great drink. And I love that I might see some people I know, and then there's people I've never seen. It's a good mix. So you can see some familiar faces, catch up with some people if you want, and then sometimes just go and have the great way to wrap up the week and talk about highs and lows of the week or what's coming up. So it's a perfect kind of launch into the weekend.
Yeah, it's got that like Cheers feeling where everyone knows your name.
Right? Yeah.
All right, so that's all the questions that we have for you. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
Sure. First of all, thanks for this opportunity, Seth. I think you're doing a great job spotlighting so many people in the community that people may know about or not know everything about them. So yeah, I think Adaptive Sports Ohio just has such a wonderful mission to really change lives and make a difference, and giving everyone a chance to play is so important. And I feel like athletics throughout Worcester is so important to everyone. So providing those opportunities, getting involved. So appreciate the spotlight to be able to talk about that. But I hope it inspires people to maybe just think about ways they can be involved, and not just with our organization, anywhere that you might see it, that one-time volunteering like you talked about, or even just that. I say to my kids a lot, I'm probably a broken record. There's been very bitter cold nights this winter, and I've said, how fortunate are we that we are here? We have a plethora of coats. There's people sleeping outside tonight, or I know there's kids going to school tomorrow that don't get to have 10 sweatshirt choices. So having that perspective is really important to us, that we talk about. And how do you give back? All of our kids volunteer. They've come to that mostly organically. I joke, back when we lived in Columbus, we volunteered and delivered Meals on Wheels with our Kiwanis Club there. My oldest, now 19, was in his car seat in the back seat, and we'd get out and help deliver that to the door. I think, again, if you live in a community, I think you should be involved in whatever way that means. But if we all did a little bit, how much better a place would be.
For sure. We can all do a little bit and help everything out. So let's say someone was involved, they're really inspired. What's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. You can reach out directly to me. We'd love to you want to stop by and have a tour, schedule a time to meet with us. We would love to do that. I think seeing the equipment, seeing a game. The wheelchair basketball season has just wrapped up, but we still have a lot of other teams that are playing. We do year round. One of the things that we do, not open to the public, but one of the things I meant to mention is we offer a dream camp in July. And so that is for athletes with physical disabilities to come and spend 3 days with peers learning sports. And so that is a big undertaking, big way to be involved. So that's a great way to support us. But we have these other opportunities throughout the year too. So checking us out on the website. We have great social media. So follow our pages and see our athletes' stories. But that's a great way to get involved with us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It was very inspiring to learn a little bit about what Adaptive Sports does and how involved they are, not just in our community, but it sounds like in Ohio as a whole. Future definitely looks bright. If anyone else needs any of the contact information or some follow-up questions, you're welcome to reach out to myself, Seth Scrimo, at 330-221-1547. Thank you. Bye.